We cannot speak with you. There is the soldiers.
They're soldiers?
Yes.
What are they doing here?
We are prison here.
What's happening?
They are keeping here, and the soldiers upstairs. We cannot move. We cannot speak with you.
You can't leave the house?
No.
They told you that?
Yes, I can't breathe.
How long are they going to stay?
I don't know.
Are they paying you any money?
You are kidding.
He told us when the soldiers come, they wake everybody up and herd them into a kitchen for hours while soldiers sleep in their bedrooms.
Let's have a look at this. And what's your reaction to some of the words for the people that weren't able to see everything? It's pretty much Israeli children singing, "We will annihilate everyone in Gaza. Autumn night falls over the beach of Gaza. Planes are bombing destruction. Look, the IDF is crossing the line to annihilate the swastika bearers. In another year, there'll be nothing there, and we will safely return to our homes. Within a year, we will annihilate everyone, and we will return to plow the fields."
Yeah, at this point, I think it's not really surprising. It's kind of what, after what we've seen the last, 6 weeks or so, it's what, you see the genocidal rhetoric that is not surprising at all. It's still disgusting, of course, but as we've seen so much of this the last, 6 weeks, it's not surprising to me. I think a lot of people at this point are kind of getting used to, still a little weird to have little kids, singing a song about massacring a race of people, but not surprising.
I remember when this whole thing started and kicked off, one of your first tweets regarding it, you were kind of on the fence.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the Palestinians were, mistreated and stuff, but also, that they pushed the massacre. It was such a horrible thing. I can't condone that. So I'm like, hey, I'm just kind of staying out of this. I understand, I understand they're mistreated, but that was not okay what they did. But, the more the bombing and the more stuff, the more investigating I started doing, the more awful I saw Israel was. Especially now we were just talking about how the whole invasion story is looking not quite what they originally pushed out. Like, they had warning it was coming. They now it just leaked out that Israel was bombing. They killed at least 400 of their own people, not Hamas. The stories of the beheaded children's obviously fake. No evidence of any rapes taking. They put they spun an extremely fake narrative right away to freak people out. And now the truth coming out that's quite different.
Mm-hmm. Max Blumenthal, he's an investigative journalist, award-winning independent journalist. Do you know Max Blumenthal?
I know that name.
Yeah,
I've seen his tweets on Twitter. I'm not sure if I follow him or if he just pops up in my timeline.
Yeah, he's actually someone who's written on this. And then you also have Hertz. I think it's the Israeli magazine. They released. They adjusted the numbers now. But so what you're talking about specifically is that
I think what's coming out. The report I read is. I've seen this a couple places now, and it seems like I think the Israeli government even admits it. They come out their Apache helicopters.
The Apache helicopter. That's what I saw. Yeah. The Apache helicopter.
They just started blasting people, and they killed hundreds of their own people because they couldn't tell which was which. And instead of waiting, they just started spraying everyone. And I think that's probably a lot of the civilians that died from the concert was from the Israeli military.
Yeah, and then people getting burned up and stuff from the heavy artillery shells from the tanks also.
Yeah, you can see all these cars and these videos of people burnt to death in them. And I don't know for a fact, but I don't think Hamas has any weaponry to do that. So that early on was a suspicion of mine when you're seeing this row of cars just totally wiped out. It's like, well, what did Hamas allegedly do that with? That was kind of an early sign that maybe it was something else, like helicopters that came in and done it. Now now that many helicopters came in and wiped them out.
Yeah, I just want to make a disclaimer. I'm pretty sure you're not. I'm not a card-carrying member of any Hamas or.
No, definitely not. Everyone's calling me a terror sympathizer, and I'm not supporting them by any means. But
I'm about truth, justice, and it seems like that's what you're about.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get to the truth. I don't support any terrorist organization killing any civilians.
Me neither.
But I prefer to find out what's really happening.
And at the same time, I'm not somebody, I'm sure you're not either, so I'm a critical thinker, someone who is not blindly following the mainstream media.
Yeah.
I have a mind of my own, I want to investigate, and it seems like you're the same way.
Yeah, no, like I said, I just started, I've been digging, and the more I dig, the more I see just lies upon lies that Israel's been saying for the years. And that's, they've done a good job of completely controlling media, and they're kind of losing control with Twitter. And I think, I'm not really on TikTok, but I guess TikTok too. So now they pulled all most of the big advertisers canceled on Twitter, trying to get Elon Musk to censor us, because they're calling to censor like me and some other big accounts that are that, you know, I'm just posting out videos I see, pushing articles, stuff like that, things that are true, and they're trying to cancel me. Usually they're not trying to cancel you for telling lies; it's for spreading truth.
You actually sent or responded to a tweet that Elon Musk he recently tweeted. He said this past week. So this is Elon Musk saying this past week there were hundreds of bogus media stories claiming that I'm anti-Semitic. Nothing could be further from the truth. And then you responded, the word anti-Semitic is completely meaningless, and at this point it's not even worth addressing when someone makes that accusation. So this is you responding to that? So you're sending
it's just
sending a message to Elon Musk?
I've been called anti-Semitic so many times this week that it's a joke. The first couple times I would respond and, you know, try to argue that not, but then you realize it's a meaningless attack to try to shut you down. You can't blame all Jews for what the Zionists are doing over there.
That's important, because same thing with my Israeli and Jewish friends that I've had on the program, and they're totally against what's happening. So Jewish rabbis, Orthodox Jewish rabbis, they're saying that the followers of Theodor Herzl, who made this whole movement Zionism, that's who they're not following Moses, the teachings of true Judaism. They're following this whole Zionist movement, and they're against that also.
Exactly, and that's
they're saying not in our name. You have many Jews saying not in our name.
Exactly, it's not the Jewish faith that's doing this. Exactly, it was the Zionism, the Theodor, was it Herzl or whatever, and that's just barely over 100 years old.
Yeah. So I think this is real important, and usually what I tell people is, me as a Muslim, I love Jesus, I love Moses, I love Jesus' mother Mary. They were of that ethnic group, so it's actually it's against Islam to be anti-Semitic or to hate someone because they're a certain ethnicity. So that
exactly. I think it's all racism is bad, and going against all the religions. Like, all three of the religions are so similar. That's why I think it's stupid when you see Christianity, Muslim, or Judaism fighting, when it's all based off that they all worship the same God.
You know, it's interesting, over there in Palestine you have Palestinians who are Christian also, and they're being oppressed. In this situation, same thing. They're being displaced, same thing, and many people don't see that other side. But I really recommend people to go to your Twitter or X handle now, because you're one of the leading. Where are you ranked? You're actually one of the leading people out there now.
Yeah, I think pretty wild. I think it's like I think I'm like top 10 in the world in politics, which is
top 10. You weren't planning that.
I had no idea. No, I'm not a. It's the funny part, because I'm not like I don't consider myself a political commentator.
Yeah.
I just, kind of tweet random thoughts in my head. But I think it's just because the other people are so fake. I don't think realistically I probably shouldn't be in the top 10, but the people I'm against are just so fake, they're bought. I think it becomes obvious to people. They get sick of it.
Yeah.
So I always tweet my real thoughts, not necessarily the most politically correct. I'll just, tweet random things without any thought to it. Wake up, send 4 or 5 tweets, and then a lot of times they'll end up going viral, versus these other guys are all trying to think things through, try to write them perfect. They have like media teams, what they've done their whole life. It's just so obviously fake and unauthentic. And they also, a lot of these guys show their bot, especially this Israel thing. A lot of these guys holding their tongue, and then you start seeing who funds them. Guys like Charlie Kirk. I asked him one of his tweets, are you funded by any Israeli Jewish groups? He responded back, I don't take money from the Israeli government. I go, that wasn't my question. Then no reply. You know what, I commend you. I mean, you have a lot of people who are courageous enough to jump in a cage to fight. You've been doing it for so long. But when it comes to standing for something, something important, something as vital as this, I mean, you got innocent babies' lives being, how many now? It's almost like 5,000 innocent kids. I think it's more than that now.
It's more, huh? And that's not even, Jake, that's not even considering how many are not found under the rubble.
Yeah, so probably a couple thousand more, exactly.
Right? Did you see those? You saw all these. I mean, what touched me is you see these kids who survive, but then the little kids like there was one I won't forget. It was amazing, just like how they're pulling together, and the young brother, he's like, get my brother over there. He's with his sister. He's like, get my brother. And then the little one, the little brother, he can't be like 5 or 6. He's like, where's my mother? Where's my mother? So they survived, but mother didn't survive, father didn't survive.
Yeah, it's so sad. I'm on some of those Telegram channels, and it gets to the point where I can't watch too many of them because it's just sad. These kids or parents losing their children, just video after video. Just you see the real suffering going on over there. And for me, when I first started siding with the Palestinian people, my audience was more right-wing, and they were super mad trying to get me to go to the other side. But I'll always speak what I believe to be true. You know, I don't care if I lose followers. I think initially I lost around 20,000 followers, but you know, now I've gained more. I'd rather speak my mind and lose followers than be fake to keep followers.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about, is like people will, now when it comes to standing for something like what you're standing for, people are scared. They're scared to get canceled. They're scared. And that's the real courage, the courage that you're displaying now.
Yeah, to be fair, you know, I do have a job where I'm a little more harder to fire. I do have them after me trying to cancel me for everything I do. You know, set up seminar tours. They were sending people letters, trying to get them to cancel, trying to get them, all the guys I work with, sending letters, trying to make up false allegations of, you know, anti-Semitism, saying I'm a Jew-hating Nazi. So they do have organized groups to try to get people fired. So that's how they've been able to keep. That's how they're able to spread, to keep truth from spreading, to keep intimidation tactic.
You know, you're following the footsteps of someone like, because many fighters, they'll come and go and they'll be forgotten. But people like, you know, it's not just because Muhammad Ali, he was a great fighter, but it's what he did outside the ring.
Yeah.
He stood for something, and he left a legacy, and this is, you're following down the same way, because you're speaking up and you're using your platform to speak for justice. It's not about being, I don't say pro this or pro that, it's about pro-truth, pro-justice.
Yeah, no, I'll always try to find what I think is truth. You know, I'm not going to go and jump whatever side I think is popular at the time. And
yeah.
I said with my following, I went with the side they didn't want me to, but now, you know, I get, like I said, you gain new followers, you lose some of the old ones, but I'm going to say what I think. You know, people don't like me for what I'm saying. I don't want them to follow me.
Now I'm going to take us to this next clip, and I want you to check it out. And it's more so also for the people who are on the outside and maybe they haven't had much exposure. I just want them to put themselves in this person's shoes. Just imagine this happening to you. And this is a day-to-day occurrence for people who are living in this side of the world.
We understand that Israeli soldiers came in this morning and, without any notice, without any invitation, came into the apartment and have been there ever since.
We cannot speak with you. There is soldiers.
The soldiers?
Yes.
What are they doing here?
We are prison here.
What's happening?
They are keeping here, and the soldiers upstairs. We cannot move. We cannot speak with you.
You can't leave the house?
No.
They told you that?
Yes, I can't breathe.
How long are they going to stay?
I don't know.
Are they paying you any money?
You are kidding.
I'm kidding. Abdul Nasif, the bank manager, said he had to get to his bank to open the safe, but that soldiers won't let him go. He told us when the soldiers come, they wake everybody up and herd them into a kitchen for hours while soldiers sleep in their bedrooms. They can't leave or use the phone or let us in. He sent us downstairs to see if his brother would open the door so we could ask the soldiers why they keep taking over this house.
You want to come?
Yes. Just open the door and then...
The soldiers close the door from the keys. They take the keys.
So we left, and that night, so did the soldiers. But when we returned 2 days later, the soldiers were back for more surveillance. This time, they kept the women under house arrest, but let the men go to work and the children go to school. When the children returned, we caught a glimpse of 2 armed soldiers at the top of the stairs. Then more children came home, but the soldiers wouldn't open the door again.
They say if you don't go back behind the wall, the children will not enter the house.
But this is where the children live.
Yeah, but you need to go away from the door so I can let the children come in, okay?
Who are you?
He's a commander here.
He's the commander here.
Yeah.
Can we talk to you?
No.
Well, we're talking to you now. Why don't you tell us what you're doing here? Have you lost your voice? Well, they've closed the door now. They've closed the window. So I guess if the children are going to get home, we have to leave. So that's what we'll do. An army spokesman told us the soldiers use the Nasif's house for important surveillance operations. The Nasifs told us the soldiers usually stay for a day or two, always coming and going in the middle of the night. When they do go, the Nasifs never know when they'll be occupied again. It could be tomorrow, next week, or next month. The only certainty, they say, is that the soldiers will be back.
Yeah, I think it's like crazy. I think it's one of those things. To me, I'm not surprised now. I think a lot of Americans don't know this is like normal over there, and they'll even kick people out of their homes for good. It just stuff goes on. The way they treat them. I think you start seeing this stuff like this can't be real. I think people are just like refusing to believe they're doing that, but that's the norm.
It's like cognitive dissonance. Like they can't imagine. But do you see? Like imagine they're coming. He was like, I can't breathe.
No,
It's almost like, is this a joke? Is this like, satirical? What? No, this is actually his.
Yeah, I believe it's the Third Amendment in our Constitution, is so soldiers can't come in your house like that. So you get these. That's why I'm laughing. These right-wing American guys or constitutionalists, they claim they're defending this. It's like you're the same guy saying you use your Second Amendment right to shoot anyone that comes in your home, and you're defending these terrorists coming in, kicking people out of their homes, bulldozing their homes. It's kind of laughable. These guys, the hypocrisy of their own thinking.
Wow, that's a good point. Look at that. So you'll fight here for the Constitution that now
Our Third Amendment.
Third Amendment.
Believes the Third Amendment. The soldiers can't come in and use your house like that, because that was the problem that used to happen hundreds of years ago, where soldiers just come in and take people's homes. They literally wrote it in our Constitution, and these same guys, they say they're constitutionalists, are defending Israel. Also, the Second Amendment, we can bear arms, we can shoot people that come in our homes.
Yeah. So, and he's not just. They're coming in the home, sleeping in his bed. Imagine someone sleeping in your bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like
come for the air.
And any time, they don't even know. I've seen also some your posts. You have these are even they have what is it? Breaking the silence. These are former IDF soldiers. They're coming out.
Yeah.
And we're getting this stuff from them also.
Yeah, I've seen some stories from the IDF saying how that's what they were told to do. They patrol these neighborhoods. They tell them to come in at night, harass families, wake them up, steal the homes. Just talking about what a joke their job is. And this, I believe, this is the West Bank, I believe, which Hamas doesn't operate there. So everyone's like, oh, it's Hamas's fault, Hamas's fault. Well, Hamas isn't even in the West Bank, so how do they justify that?
That's a good point, too. That's another side over here, that they're not even there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no rationale to these people's logic. It's just been spun by the media so well, they can't stop believing it. And I think like most of my Jewish friends, the ones that are hardcore Israel supporters, they don't believe this stuff either. It's not they think this stuff's right. They don't believe it's going on. They've been brainwashed as well.
That's another good point. The brainwashing is also happening now, the programming, and hopefully if anyone's sincere, they take a look, because that's what many people did, who got on the side of the truth, is they got beyond the programming and they took a deeper dive.
Yeah, Israel offers like Birthright, where they pay for all the Jewish people to come out there. They show them around.
Yeah.
They preach all this propaganda to them. So they try to put this program in their head. So a lot of them believe it. They don't know this is going on themselves.
Is that the actor James Wood? Actor James Wood.
Oh, yeah.
Is that actually his Twitter feed?
Yeah.
He's a famous actor, right?
Yeah.
I was surprised, and I saw him tweeting, "No ceasefire, no compromise, no forgiveness," and hashtag kill them all.
Yeah,
I was very shocked. I mean, I've watched some of his films. He's like a very
good actor. Yeah.
I was shocked.
Yeah, especially because Elon Musk said calls for genocide won't be allowed, and what he's talking about that is, I guess, saying from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. They're trying to say that's genocide, which that could mean a lot, because that could mean so many different things. To be free, it just means the Israelis could move, but the Israelis try to say that's a call for genocide, which seems a little ridiculous. So I think Elon caved and said he won't allow that on there, but he allows this. So you can't say from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, but you can say kill all Palestinians.
I've asked, yeah, that's ironic. I've asked Palestinians, what does it actually mean? Are you trying to eradicate? Say no. I mean, you've had, as you know, and when I speak to people who know the history, these are academics, they'll say that Jews and Christians and Muslims for over 1,000 years were living there in peace.
Until Zionism came about, Jews flourished as distinctly religious Jewish communities, and they weren't massacred. On the contrary, they went to these Arab and Muslim lands to escape persecution from the Crusades, from the Inquisition, and from many other trials and tribulations, and even World War II. The Arab and Muslim lands opened their hearts, opened their lands, and provided a safe haven and a gracious hospitality for the Jewish people. Clearly, we have different religion, and yet we were accepted in these Muslim and Arab lands. We believe in one God, and we were accepted. We have different ways of serving God, but yet, we were respected, and even the Muslim religion requires of that, the Muslim people to provide protection and hospitality, and they did carry that out. That's clear. Nobody could refute this fact.
The Jews and Muslims lived in peace for over 1,000 years. And why is it suddenly now that the Muslims, these guys allegedly hate Jews and suddenly want to kill them? Clearly, it's Zionism that's the problem. It's not Islam, and it's not Muslims against Jews. That's the main thing we have to tell people. It's a political thing. It's Israel. It's not the Jews.
They were relatively living in peace, and you had now this movement that came, and you had the apartheid state. Now it's an apartheid state, open concentration camp. So when they say river to the sea, they want to be free of all this.
Yeah, exactly.
They just want their rights. That's all it is.
And now they're making it illegal to say that in multiple countries. I think Twitter just banned that saying. I think it's France and Germany made it where they can arrest you for saying that and put you in prison. It's kind of wild.
Isn't that wild? Yeah, in France you can't have protests or.
Really shows you how much power the Israeli lobby has. You know, that's the thing I wasn't aware of either. You see, like every politician, the guys that were claiming they were anti-war, they all of a sudden jumped at war for Israel. Then I started saying this makes no sense. I started digging. You know, AIPAC's by far the strongest lobby in the United States, which is AIPAC's the pro-Israel lobby, which all other foreign lobbies have to register as a foreign agent, but for some reason AIPAC doesn't. So they're able to raise massive amounts of money, which can be hard to track for these politicians. I think they were bragging what they get like 97% of the candidates they pick win their elections. So they're pretty much rigging U.S. elections so they can control our political system.
Wow.
And no one will ban it because they control them all, so they're not going to pass a law making it illegal to lobby as it should be because they have all the politicians in there. So they've created such a mess, it's going to take a while to unwind it. But at least people are starting to wake up and starting to see it.
What do you think? Recently you had Candace Owens. She had a tweet, and it was and I commend her, really. She had a tweet that started off with saying, "Blessed are the peacemakers." And then she went on with the rest of it, and it was, and then at the end she said, "You cannot serve both God and money." And then there was this back and forth with her and Ben Shapiro. Did you see that clip with Ben Shapiro?
I saw them arguing a little bit, but
let me show you the clip, and I'll get your comments.
Yes, the question was about Candace Owens. I think her behavior during this has been disgraceful. Without a doubt. I can't pause it. Yeah, and she still works for my company. And I think she's been absolutely disgraceful. I think that her faux sophistication on these particular issues has been ridiculous. It's not faux sophistication, it's ridiculous. Everybody can see the moves that she's making and the things that she's saying, and I find them disreputable.
Calling for peace, he's calling disgraceful. Seems ridiculous because Candace Owens hasn't even said that much, but they just want to completely control everyone. They can see she's probably starting to lean towards that side, so they're trying to shut her down. So some other organization was like denouncing her today. So
yeah, that's all she was doing. She was as a Christian, and I was wondering, like, you know, how are you going to be able to support something like that? And now she's actually taking a stand subtly. I mean, just, you know, softly, not even hard. And then boom, he's like attacking her and whatnot because she's just calling her heart. I mean, you can't just help it. Like, these are human beings, but they want to paint everyone like they're animals. See, and this is the same thing that was done to Jews at that time, what Hitler was doing, what Nazis were doing, painting them as rats and animals. But then it was like, what were you?
Yeah, no, they're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah.
With Benjamin Netanyahu calling the Palestinians like human animals, and it's pretty wild. The exact same things they've always talked about, they're doing.
Yeah, and that's the ironic thing. So she came out, and then now he's, you know, saying what he's saying about her, and he seems like he's been really fueled up. He's like really excited about just war, you know. He's like really excited about just how much is enough. To him, it doesn't seem like there's a limit.
Yeah, it seems like they want the complete annihilation of, you know, of Gaza and probably the West Bank. It doesn't seem like they're really trying to do any settling. They don't really seem like they want a two-state solution. It seems like they just want to wipe them out. You know, there's been multiple people like Nikki Haley talking about, oh, let's bring them into Europe and America. And it doesn't seem like, you know, like I said, they have so much control over our politicians. It seems like they want to wipe them out and get them, you know, take what's left of Palestine and take that land.
Do you know a fighter? He was recently on the Joe Rogan podcast. Ted Kennedy.
Tim Kennedy.
Tim Kennedy. Yeah. Did you ever fight him?
No, I know him, but never fought him.
Yeah. What he had some comments recently. How did you?
I didn't watch the episode.
Yeah.
I think he's a little more like pro-Israel, but I didn't watch the episode. So.
Yeah. So you didn't watch that, huh?
No.
Yeah. So you have. Where do you see this going? Where do you see now with everything that you know, and everything you're becoming more and more educated? Where do you see this going?
It's hard to say. It's I don't see any good solution, unfortunately. Especially for the Palestinians. They're out there getting massacred. Their homes are all wiped out. Tens of thousands. I think around 20,000 of them have been killed now.
It's up to 20,000, huh?
I think I saw like 19 written this morning. Not to mention the missing.
Wow.
And then I think it was like more like I think 75% of them are homeless now. So what's the solution? They have nothing to rebuild, nowhere to go. So I don't really know what they're going to try to do. Are they going to try to push them out to Europe and America as refugees? Or are they going to let them rebuild? I don't really see Israel offer them anything. Unfortunately, I don't see what good solution they can have.
It is, we often had that slogan like never again, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. You had the evil Holocaust that happened, and this is why we kept hearing this repeated, never again, to any. That's not just for one people, for any people. But now we're seeing it in 4K, and it's like I'm saying now, like, okay, never again, but except for this group of people.
Yeah, I think they used the Holocaust, such an awful thing. I think they used that as leverage to silence people. So it allowed them to be pushing a genocide, and if you mention that, they would mention that, they'd be like, Holocaust. They've done a great job of weaponizing it, because unfortunately there's been a lot of awful genocides throughout history, but none of the other ones are pushed like the Holocaust. There's been multiple cases, 100 million people died through communism, but they don't push that. So that's their way of silencing their critics, and I think they were kind of keeping the secret what they were doing.
So do you see now, when you talk to a lot of the people who are also in the UFC and other veterans, does this topic, does it come up because you have a lot of followers, and do you see more people wanting to speak up, or what's their stance, or what's the feeling in the MMA world, UFC world?
Bit. The majority of the guys I talk to either mostly agree with me or partially agree. Maybe a few guys disagree. I think a lot of guys just don't want to speak up, which I understand. It's like they're kind of trying to keep themselves, out of politics, especially seeing the power some of these groups have that are on the opposite side. All the power and money is on the opposite side, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Truth's on our side, but the power and money is all. No one's getting fired, for supporting Israel, despite them doing a genocide. But lots of people are getting fired for supporting Palestine.
There's a great saying that if you either stand for something, or you fall for anything. So that's where you have the true men, true people of courage, and that's what separates the real men from the boys, the ones who really have a heart, not just to get in the cage, but to stand up for things that will really make a difference in the world. And you're trying to speak up to help have a ceasefire, to help stop kids from dying.
Yeah, it's tough, and sometimes is it worth this backlash? But then, I get people all the time, saying, I had a bunch of accounts saying they were on the fence and they changed their mind for my account, and then I get people thanking me wherever I go. People, have people even bring me gifts. So I'm like, all right, I guess it is worth putting myself on the line. You
also had something that someone can interpret as like a threat on your life recently, also, and it was someone who's, I think, is like washed up MMA fighter.
Yeah, a bum of a fighter. I know the guy. He was in New York when I was out there.
You knew the guy also?
Yeah, he wanted to train with me because he was terrible. He would get beat up by Gordon Ryan's little brother was like 13 at the time, and he was like tapping him out with ease.
No way.
Yeah, he wanted to train with me, but then he's out writing missiles, names of first he wrote a bunch of the Muslim fighters' names on missiles, and I said that's kind of ridiculous that he would do that. Then he wrote my name on a missile, and like, oh, I'll send this to you. So putting my name on missiles to go blow up little kids with it, it's such a weird thing how they write names of missiles, or they write like taunts on missiles, and they'll bring Israeli school children to go and write to write on missiles, and they'll go bomb Palestinian children with it. It's just such a sick thing they do.
Yeah, I saw the name with Habib, and then you had Hamzat, then you had Mohammed Bilal, but then not too long ago you got added on that list.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly, because I was speaking out, so he put me. It's like, it's like a threat. And, I have like direct threats in my life too.
Yeah.
I think they're mostly full of it, but it still sucks when you open your inbox and people saying they're gonna come and kill you.
And because what? Because you're trying to save the babies.
Yeah, they don't. I think just they don't want some of the truth exposed. I think Israel only survives through a lie. You know, well, I think at this point they've been there long enough for people to be happy if they did a real two-state solution. But I think they want to continue taking all that land.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it seems like. It's just these things are used as a pretext to go ahead and just keep grabbing land. Just keep grabbing land. Yeah.